Alright, looks like we have a new journal entry. The 26th. There we go. Hannah met Zachary Steele, a freelance photographer from Luxury Living, an interior design magazine. Zachary was tasked to interview Hannah. Ah, man, I thought I could, hold the sneeze in. I've just started. Seriously, do we have to sneeze right now? We do. Pardon me. Zachary was tasked to interview Hannah and to take pictures of the mansion and its new owners. What should have been a professional meeting ended up being friendly and perhaps too personal. Yeah. Anyway, entering the dining hall causes me so much confusion. It is dark. For a moment, I thought the electric work is not up to par. But that clearly is not the case, as every other room is bright with artificial light. Finding the light switch is a monumental task considering the size and my unfamiliarity with the room. To make matters worse, the darkness grants the room a different atmosphere. Eerie and frightening. No ghost ladies, please, right now. It takes longer than I thought to find the switch, something that will have to be rectified later on. My skin starts to prickle, and there is the distinct feeling of being watched. It unsettles me and only spurs me on in my search. And when I do open the lights, there is a hiss.
I'll turn the lights down, woman!
Oh, it's you. Are you drinking? You're not supposed to be drinking. Luke. There, at the end of the hall, is my beloved husband with his face in one hand and a glass in the other. Perhaps I can let it go if it's only one glass of wine. What wine is green? Lime green. However, I can feel myself go livid after seeing the toxic green liquid gleam mockingly at me.
Luke, what? Are you drinking absinthe?
Oh my goodness, Luke!
You know what the doctor said. Absinthe, Luke.
That's Sprite of Hannah, though.
Are you actively trying to kill yourself? Because if you are, we can just hit you with a bloody car.
Aw, Hannah.
Honeybee, Buttercup, not too loud, please.
Honeybee and Buttercup.
Besides, it's Lelouch, not too strong. Just hair of the dog that bit me. Helps with the hangover, dearest.
How?
You drank? When?
This morning, love. Don't be mad. I just needed a few drinks, having to deal with those simpletons.
A few drinks.
And maybe I had one too much. You don't see me whinging about you leaving me to handle them on my own.
Uncalled for.
I had to attend the photo shoot and interview with Luxury Living. You know that. Let's not make this about me, Luke. This is about you and your drinking problem and...
Oh, I don't know, Hannah, darling.
Here we go.
What if my drinking problem, as you like to call it, is linked to you?
Ow!
If we think about it that way, this discussion is about you. That was pretty mean of you, leaving me alone to do all the work like that. You can't use the interview as an excuse either, honey. I was informed the moment your little interview was done. So, what was it then, What were you doing?
What's it gonna be? Should I tell the truth? Or tell a little lie? I don't know. I know I don't want to do that. I just want to do that. Thank you. I mean, honesty is always the best policy, but I feel like if we tell him we were with Zach, A, he's gonna get jealous. B, Hannah's probably going to play up the thing with Zach to make him jealous. C, or third, I just feel like she's gonna... Oh. But if he's been informed, he probably already knows that we were with Zach. But is it any of his business anyway, since he's coming after me attacking me? Oh, God. Well, it's like 5 minutes in. I'm already questioning my decisions. Let's You know what? I'm not gonna tell you, and we'll just see what happens.
I was just tending to the garden, sweetie.
He liked us lying to him. Interesting. Maybe he knows he's being an ass, and he's like, okay, I don't need that. You're right. I don't need to know that information. You don't need to tell me anything.
You were?
That or Johans didn't say anything, in which case, thank you, Johans. And Luke is just like, what? For a moment, he looks skeptical. I can tell by the gleam in his eyes and the way he sits up in attention. He thinks I'm lying, but he likes it. But I see no point in bringing up Zachary and aggravating him. Yeah, it's like, the fact that, you know, this one-off photographer, we're on a first-name basis with him, and we had, like, this whole personal conversation is very out of character for Hannah. Never mind Luke. It's just gonna bring up bad stuff, is what I figured, so I'm glad I decided not to bring it up. I did tend to the gardens for a bit, so it's not a complete lie. Just a little white lie. Besides, I know just how to please him. Sauntering over and circling around him, I place my fingers on his shoulders. This is not how I thought we were going to start today, but alright. He lets out a little groan moan before melting like butter as I massage his shoulders.
Mm-hmm. I had to make sure they didn't ruin your favorite daffodils.
Oh, that is wonderful.
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if he means the massage or the flowers, but I'll take it. This is better than a fight. Oh, absolutely. I was trying to avoid that.
So, absinthe.
Oh, no.
Just one glass, Loosh.
I suppose I can let this one go. A bit too late anyway. You've already drank half the thing.
I suppose that's a good point.
But remember your doctor's orders.
Yes, I'll try to drink less.
Try.
Hey, I'm only human. Do you want one?
No, thank you.
I'm pregnant. Supper is spent in silence with nothing but the occasional sound of silverware. A grand feast has been served. Well, grander than usual anyway, most likely due to Luke's complaints of stress. Oh my, such food. A platter of native oysters for starters and tranche of turbot with purple sprouting broccoli, lemon, capers, and anchovy sauce for mains. I've never heard of purple sprouting broccoli. That sounds interesting. There also looks to be carrots in there somewhere. To finish it all off, black tea and golden syrup sponge pudding with custard. Man, I would be so stuffed. But when our appetites are appeased and the plates are cleared away, Luke stands, kisses me goodnight, and leaves me to stare at my half-empty cup. Lonely in the lull of night, I sit, in a house too big and too empty, foreign and unwelcoming. Even with its warm tone and homely decor, it feels cold. There is no need for tears, however. I know I can get through this like every other obstacle I have faced before. This is a minor setback in what I hope will be a long and happy life. To remind myself that this place is for Luke and for our future children, wink, fills me with a renewed vigor. Besides, it looks like someone is having a cry already. The wailing is far away and muffled. Yet at the same time it shakes me to my very core as I hear it. As if the suffering is just standing right beside me. Hearing it sends a chill down my spine and makes my skin prickle with goosebumps. Who is that? This is bad news bears. Pardon me, Miss Ghost. I need to read about things. Apparently. During supper, Hannah found Luke drinking absinthe, and this caused an argument. While Hannah was angered by her husband's drinking problem, Luke was suspicious of his wife's activities, having not seen her the whole afternoon despite finishing Luxury Living's interview early. Then there was this crying woman. This is gonna be another QTE. Curiosity sinks in as I follow the sorrowful sound into the kitchen. And into the wine cellar hatch. Don't go down there.
Hello? Is anybody down there?
I'm curious and concerned, but there is no way I'm going down into a dark and humid underground. Good. Run away. I'm not as enthusiastic as Luke, who considers himself quite the connoisseur. However, I also cannot bring myself to go to bed with this racket going on. If you go far enough away, you won't even hear it. If it is one of the household help, they will surely need some talking. After all, this wouldn't be the first time I've gone and found one of the maids sobbing their eyes out over one thing or another. It's not a maid. As professional as our staff are, they are still human. More often than not, it was either Johans or I who'd calm them down, who'd help them figure out how to go on about things. Unfortunately, I am not in high spirits right now, so I'm not as wholly benevolent. So I will... Yeah, don't... I'm like trying to use the arrows. Don't go down there. Don't even look down there. Just... If you must, do this, but I'd rather we just left. I knock 3 times. Waiting for any sort of reply yields me no results, and I've already touched the floor hatch far too many times than what I'd like. I take a deep breath before reaching out again to whoever's inside. I've learned from experience that people respond better to kindness than threats. Shouting angrily would not help in coaxing them out.
You, in the cellar, do come out. We don't want Luke waking up and finding you in there, do we? That man would go ballistic thinking someone was trying to steal his precious wine.
Still nothing.
You can have a good cry. Just not in there, yes? Why don't you come out here and we can have a cuppa and you can tell me all about whatever it is you're bawling about.
We can have a cuppa. With how long I am standing here, however, I'm starting to think myself as a fool. I did not want to acknowledge the other feeling I have, especially as the wailing took an eerie turn. The thought of being played with didn't sit too well with me, and I had to stop myself from getting too hot-headed as I try one more time.
Now you come out of there! That is an order from the lady of the house, do you hear me?
I wouldn't order the real lady of the house if I were you.
Why, I ought to.
I freeze as a hand clamps down on my shoulder. The dread I've been feeling all this time makes itself known as I kneel, unmoving, not even daring to breathe. I can feel my heart pounding against my chest. But the touch is gone as quickly as it had seized me. Oh, God, Johans, don't do that in a ghost place. Oh, I'm so glad it's you. Did you hear any of that? It is only Johans I see when I look back.
Apologies, madam, for touching you like that.
It's fine.
You were not responding to my voice, and you looked about ready to wake the whole mansion up.
I'm sorry. I was getting rather loud, wasn't I? But that crying woman in there, we must do something about her.
You didn't hear that. Right. He grows silent for a moment and just looks concerned. At least I like to interpret it as concern, given how stoic our head butler usually is. Or rather, it must have been concern, as he takes off a glove and presses the back of his hand at my forehead before his worrisome inquiry.
I beg your pardon. What crying woman? Are you feeling well, madam?
In the cellar. Can't you hear her?
Madam Hannah, no one is down there.
Oh, first name.
What?
The cellar is locked. Only Luke and I have duplicates of the keys.
Huh.
Nobody is down there.
I stare at him in disbelief. But when I listen once more, I hear no crying. Tugging at the hatch for good measure proves his words to be true, too. So would I have failed if I had tried to open it? The thing won't budge unless I had a key, short of using power tools on it.
Perhaps it is time for you to go to bed, madam.
I think that's sensible.
You are simply tired and hearing things, a perfectly normal human experience.
Is it?
But if you are still experiencing auditory hallucinations in the morning, you are free to consult with me.
There's a cold feeling in the pit of my stomach as he helps me up to my feet. What he says makes sense, and who am I to question someone who used to be a doctor? Okay, I was wondering, I'm like, just for fun, you want me to consult with you? Like, okay, you used to be a doctor as well. You are very qualified you're overqualified for the job of butler. I am just tired, that's it. Long day of moving, the interview, dealing with Luke, that has all drained me of any proper sense.
Yes, I suppose you're right. I just need some sleep, that's all.
Of course I'm right. Go on then. Gute Nacht.
Good night, Johannes. Good night, house.
It's just fatigue. That's what I keep telling myself, although I can't ignore the strange feeling in my gut. Either there is something wrong with the house, or there's something wrong with my head. Sleep will be elusive tonight. And a new day. Luke is already gone by the time I rise. There isn't a single hide nor hair of him to be found, and trying to call him on his mobile is a bust, as it only goes straight to his voicemail. That's twice in a row he's gone on me. And for him to disappear today, of all days, is every bit upsetting because of what's to come. What's to come? Hannah, how do you know about these things? How come you're the only one talking in past tense? What's today? The morning is once again filled with a whirlwind of activity. Fortunately, I am much more refreshed as I took a break from my responsibilities. I haven't the faintest clue where Luke was yesterday. Today is going to be a busy day, although unlike Wednesday, the master of the house isn't here right now, absent once again from his duties. Hopefully he'll be back in time for the party. Oh, is this the, home... What is that called? I want to say, homecoming party. It's not a homecoming party. It's like when you move into a house. Homewarming? Is that it? Homewarming party? This is our house, after all. Yes, a grand housewarming party for the wonderful Wright mansion. Every person of importance from Luxburn is invited, and there will be a few guests flying in as well. Of course, there will be some people from the media, along with friends and acquaintances who are made no less important, regardless of their status in society. Oh, hello. Marianne and I discussed business and last-minute touches to the house before finalizing everything. Not that there is much change from our original plans. Bar any huge additions to the property itself, the mansion is nearly 100% complete.
You have certainly exceeded expectations, Marianne. Everything looks so marvelous, and in such a short time, too.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Well, I can't take all the credit. People have certainly been enthusiastic about the idea of working on the Wright mansion. There won't be any more problems unless Mr. Wright has any more objections about the second bedroom.
Oh boy. Luke and I had a small tiff about making the second bedroom into a child's playroom, which I insisted is completely practical considering I'm pregnant. In the end, he had to acquiesce. I didn't give him any choice in the matter. I even bought this wonderful wooden crib from the antique store yesterday, including some toys, because I'm definitely having a kid in a couple months. Just in case anyone brings their baby, of course. Hannah, now you just lying to yourself. Besides, we have little need for actual guest rooms. We hardly have guests who spend the night. So is Hannah lying even to herself, or does she not realize she's pregnant? Of course, she might not even be pregnant. I could just be, massively wrong about my guess about this. If we absolutely have to, we often choose to foot the bill for their visit on one of our hotels instead. Always at Luke's own insistence. And on the off chance that we actually let someone stay, the bedroom in the opposite wing is still up to the task.
Oh, no. We proceed with that room as planned. I already agreed to him having his greenhouse and his vineyard and his stables. He may as well let me have this one thing.
But what about the helipad? Aw, no, I did not agree to him having a helipad. sad.
All right then. Well, do we have any other concerns? Anything we need to put on our agenda before the party commences?
No, I don't think so. Not unless Luke has anything else to say.
Is he around then? It'd be best if we can note down his requests right away, considering the scope of his usual ones.
Damn. Around? No. Where is he? Who knows where? I don't.
No, he's not around.
She didn't have to point out the obvious now, did she? Aw, don't be like that, Hannah. After 7 long years, I'd already gotten used to him. I should be by now. Still not, apparently.
But don't you have a party?
I want nothing more than to complain, to whinge about how unfair this is. However, airing out one's dirty laundry is simply taboo among high society. To do so will make you a ripe target for the next dinner party chit-chat. Vultures, a lot of them, really. Or most of them, at least. There are always good ones, like Rochelle Lee. But put your trust in the wrong person, and you'll find yourself eagerly picked apart.
Yes. But Luke's just being a sweetie, you see. That friend he's visiting, he's having marital problems, and he's just trying to cheer him up.
Perhaps I'm being a bit too rash, a bit too hot-headed in divulging details. But I thought myself clever with the plan to dress it up as gossip. Marianne's raised brow makes me unsure whether she is interested or not. Although that does make things better if she has no interest, and therefore has no hidden intent to utilize whatever I might say to her.
They've been married for a long time, and they've hit a... how do they say it? A rough patch. His wife has a drinking problem and can be very neglectful. The poor thing really does his best to be a good husband.
Are you, like, switching roles around?
But it's never enough for her. Sometimes I think it's the years.
She totally is.
Maybe it's been so long that they've lost that romantic spark. What do you think?
You were asking for my personal opinion on the matter, ma'am? Do you want me to be honest, or...
Do I want her to be honest? Yeah, I feel like Marianne's no dummy, and she probably saw right through that immediately. Yeah, be honest.
Be honest with me, Marianne. I don't need someone to sugarcoat it.
Real talk, though. Okay. Cool.
I'm not some fragile thing that I'm just going to break down at the slightest thing.
She hesitates, taking a sip of her coffee while I stare into my own cup of tea. The silence stretches on, and I almost believe that she will never answer my question. I suppose that I shouldn't blame her, putting her in a tight spot like this. Her hesitation is understandable, though I loathe to admit it. She simply wants this whole thing to stay professional. But then she speaks.
If I'm going to be completely honest, I need to ask. This is about you and Mr. Wright, isn't it?
Marianne, my girl. It's my turn to hesitate now. I really didn't expect such a straightforward question. And to get to the heart of the matter, I suppose I'm not as clever as I'd like to think. Or is it really that bad that an outsider can see our little marital troubles? Surely we aren't that obvious, are we? We've put up the act of a perfect couple for years, although it hadn't always been an act. Marianne is just more keen than the average person, of course. It is a necessity to her career, and she's been working so closely with us. Yes, that's it.
Suppose it is. What would you tell me?
Then, I tell you it's none of my business. I tell you that I don't want to meddle.
Good girl, Marianne.
But if the troubled husband with the neglectful wife asked me for my honest opinion, I'd say that he shouldn't base his happiness and his self-worth on someone else. Someone who won't even give him the time of the day. Maybe he should try being independent for a while. See what it's like when he isn't trying to please someone else and doing things for himself.
Damn.
Everyone's supposed to be their own man or woman, right? A bit of breathing room never hurt anyone. That's just my 2 pence worth, of course.
So you're saying they should divorce?
Nothing as drastic as that. If they're afraid that it might lead to just that, then maybe that is what's meant to happen in the first place. We shouldn't let our fear control our lives. But it's just a short hiatus is all. Or, couples therapy? Look, I'm really not the best person to ask about relationships. So grain of salt and all that.
Wow. I'm surprised she was as honest as she was. She trails off, having said her piece, and leaves nothing but the smell of coffee and Earl Grey between us. There is a calm despite the nature of what has just been discussed. To say that her words make me start to think is an understatement. To say that I'm not considering her advice is a lie. And to say that this might just be the calm before the storm is a possibility. Others have had shorter marriages, yes, but plenty have celebrated long and happy ones as well. My own parents celebrated their choral anniversary before they passed away. I don't know which year that is. But 7 years? 7 years isn't a whole lot in the grand scheme of things. It isn't a whole lot of time to see what and where a relationship can bring us. And at the same time, 7 years. Well, it hasn't been entirely made up of unhappy years, has it? It won't last forever. It's not supposed to anyway. I just dread the thought that it might last for a very long time. I dread the thought that these small spats, these little disagreements, will turn into an all-out resentment. The idea that we will grow to hate each other with every fiber of our being scares me. I can't even pinpoint the exact moment when our blissful union turned sour. We can get through this, right? I know that I still do love him, and I feel that there is still a part of him that loves me in return. We just need to get our heads together and talk it out. Surely he will see some sense. There is a cough before Marianne clears her throat. I guess I was, just staring for a long time. I must have been quiet for so long, and I move to apologize when she stands up. We both end up on our feet, unsure of how to proceed. Some sort of odd, awkward shuffle occurs as we decide whether to sit back down or not.
I really should handle what's left of the work.
You won't be attending the party? Oh, you really must, Marianne.
I'll try to stay and chat. Maybe grab a few bites and a drink, but I can't be around for the entirety of the event. My apologies. Busy, busy, busy.
You must stay a while. I'd love for you to meet some of my friends, and they're ever so excited to meet you. You need to say hello to the Lees, at least. If it wasn't for them, I'd never even heard of you.
We'll see. So, if I can be excused?
Certainly. You'll have to excuse me as well. I must attend to the party before any early birds arrive. Because, believe me, they will throw a fuss if things aren't ready, even when they're not supposed to be here until an hour later.
Barf. Another journal entry. Where are we now? Hannah and Marianne were seen discussing the mansion's finishing touches before the housewarming party. On a whim, Hannah asked for Marianne's opinion about a certain couple having marital problems. It leaves the former with something to think about after the latter excused herself from attending the party. The scene outside the parlor is a great organized mess. Aside from our own household help, we hired the service of the temp agency, which provides staff for Wright Enterprise in the hospitality sector. Even our very skilled staff cannot undertake a party of this size on their own. Waiters, busboys, hostesses, and their staff, captains move about in droves, carrying crockery and serveware good for several dozen people and then some. Chefs and bartenders tail after Johans, looking like scared little children as he escorts them through the kitchen and into the wine cellar. To peruse the stocks, to select what can be served at the party and what can be used for cooking. We're gonna have a lot of people in here that are gonna get murdered by a ghost lady.
Schnell! We have a lot to do, and I believe we did not hire snails.
Uh-oh.
Snails are for the dishes.
Ah. A string quartet readies up to play for the evening, tuning their instruments as they fill the air with idle chatter. Floral decor worth thousands fill vases, wreaths, and baskets, while petals are scattered along the driveway up front. Whoa. An ice sculpture of a reindeer is brought in carefully by a pair. It is followed by a simple cake, just a 5-tier white chiffon one with white chocolate mousse, fresh berries, and a light dusting of edible gold leaf. Really simple. But despite the fact that I told Marianne how I will attend to all of this, I find myself unable to focus or care for any of it. I still have our discussion running in my mind, and Looking at all of this, I only see Luke everywhere. These are all the grand things that Luke wanted to have for the party. I had wanted a small, elegant, and simple gathering, with only a select few invited, namely the people who I would actually trust to enter my home. I did not want any bloody politicians or paparazzi in here, no matter how used I am to catering them.
At least be here for your party. Damn it, Luke.
Poor Hannah. The entire thing screamed, Luke Wright. And I can't help but add another question to my growing list of queries. When did I lose myself? It's always about him nowadays, isn't it? What about Hannah Wright? What about Hannah Evans? I used to be my own woman who made her own name, her own career, and her own decisions. Sure, I was already the social butterfly that I still am today, but it wasn't all empty, shallow gossip and sitting pretty. I was also lauded for my knowledge and talent. Finance manager wasn't just handed to me just because my father owned the company. I had insisted that I start at the bottom so I could work my way to the top and prove myself. And I did. I worked numbers, managed budgets, money and accounts, analyzing the competition and market trends. There was the calculation of financial risk, cost reduction opportunities, auditor liaison and public relations, supervision of staff, and... well, I generally had a huge slew of responsibilities. Admittedly, I was already quite the attention seeker even back then, having dedicated most of my youth craving for my parents' approval. Failing that, I turned to others, looking for praise from anyone who would give it, however fleeting it all was. And Luke. Oh, Luke. The way he looked at me, the way he watched me and took a genuine interest. He had me disgustingly obsessed since day one, hasn't he? He saw me for me, Hannah Evans, with both my faults and my achievements. The man didn't treat me like some damsel in distress or some prize to be won. I remember the nights before we were married where we talked about everything and anything. From big things like business, society, and philosophy, to little things such as what we had for breakfast or whether we liked cats or dogs more. We both prefer dogs. Nowadays, I'm just Luke Wright's wife. It's mostly my fault, isn't it? They told me that husbands preferred wives who are docile and subordinate. A woman who will always be there for him, yet would never outshine him in all aspects except beauty. A wife needs to be at home and attend to his needs, to have children, and to take care of them in his absence. They said I have no business working any more after I was married. I can blame society. But I listened. Before I can fall further into this introspective pit of self-loathing, someone calls for my attention.
The guests have arrived, madam.
Oh boy.
And Luke?
Running a bit late, I'm afraid.
Late for his own party. That man, I swear. He's probably looking to make a dramatic entrance, knowing him.
That sounds on brand.
Open the doors, then. We mustn't tarry.
Toddy. Cars line up the driveway, peppering the front of the mansion with vehicles of every kind. Grand tourers, supercars, even the odd high-end muscle car or two. Convertibles, grand saloons, and other luxury cars can be seen being parked by valets. A handful of cabs drive off, possibly for those who thought it's too troublesome to bring their own cars. There are at least 2 different media vans as well. They're all here for what may be considered the biggest event of the year for Luxburn. So far. Who knows what we'll plan for the winter holidays?
Welcome, welcome everyone. Please, make yourselves at home.
I like that she doesn't change her outfit for this grand party. Some of the guests idle, enjoying the warm, if not strange, sunshine we are experiencing before gloomy skies inevitably return. They greet acquaintances and friends with warm smiles, others less so. From where I stand, I can see the hierarchy of power, the ties that bind these individuals here, whether through convenience or necessity. However, there are also few who are not here to further cement their current place in high society. Such as that young man with his oriental air. Yes, that guy. Ignorant of the looks he receives from women and men alike, they just are jealous of his coat.
Be careful with Shirley, all right?
Man from the Orient. Hana, no. Why? Oh, hi, Becca. Or that rose-haired woman talking on the phone while she looks unsure of why she is here exactly. Okay, you guys wouldn't be so chill, right, if Isabella had died, right? I'm still looking for signs.
Yes, I'm at the party already, Mom.
Rosy-haired girl.
Yes, I'll say hi to her if I can.
I see Zachary, the photographer, as well. He talks to a few of the other media crew with an air of familiarity.
I was just here a few days ago, yeah. And the inside is huge, but the staff are pretty helpful if you get lost.
Also, there's a ghost lady. I had invited Father Norman, too. It's the least I can do after he blessed the mansion on my request. Aside from my small donation to the church, of course. So you got the mansion blessed. Interesting. But the poor man had taken ill and went through a nervous breakdown of some sort the other day. Oh no. And then there are people like the Chief Inspector. People who I can never be too sure about. People who stand on the border between being suspicious and being trustworthy.
Thank you for the invite, Anna.
Are you here without your wife again?
Husband still missing, I see.
I should be saying the same of your darling Rochelle, Lee.
What is going on?
The doctors again?
She told me she'll just be in the gardens.
I'm starting to get suspicious that Luke and Rochelle are having an affair. They're both always missing from parties. I'm like,
I bet she's lying and that she's somewhere around mingling, gossiping with the other ladies. It's no offense, but that seems to be all you ladies do at these parties.
So why are you talking to me?
And aren't you gossiping right now?
Get him, girl.
Yes, well, what about Luke? Should we file a missing persons report now, or do you want to wait 24 hours?
Haha.
He's around.
You know, I can tell if someone's bluffing. Don't tell me, let me guess. He's finally drunken himself to death and not wanting a scandal, you've hidden his body. I was wanting to give this housewarming gift to him personally, too. It's a plate that holds a wine glass so he can stop killing himself with liquid lunches.
Oh my god.
Looks like it's too late for that.
Nothing like that. Besides, this is a hardly polite conversation.
Oh, relax. I'm just trying to be cheeky to lighten the mood. It's not like I want Luke dead.
Sure.
The man doesn't serve dodgy plonk like the others when I visit, and he pays his respects well enough. I could use a glass of wine or 3, actually. Rochelle's been in a horrid mood. Threw her stilettos at me the other day and almost took an eye out. Not sure if this is how it usually goes, but I blame the pregnancy.
I wouldn't know, would I?
Damn.
Still no plans for a baby?
Oh god, this conversation is the worst.
Well, I guess that's for the best. If it's this bad now, I can't even imagine how bad it'll be when that little baby bump becomes huge.
Have I mentioned how I don't trust him no matter how hard I try to do so? At least he brought a gift, I suppose.
Why don't you just go inside and have some wine, Lee?
Think I will, thanks.
Greetings such as these carry on as the guests continue to trickle in. Whether we have short conversations or merely shake hands and nod heads, I make sure to attend and welcome each of them. As the first hour passes by, the rest of the stragglers and I adjourn to the ballroom. Any latecomers will have the attention of the porter instead. I have other duties to attend to now. Ooh, we got dancers and people with no faces. How schwanky. Hosting parties is always the same old song and dance, haha, no matter how big or small it is. You make sure your guests are well fed, have good company, and have them generally enjoy themselves. So when my opening remarks are done, when the band has started to play and the guests have started eating, I find myself wandering around aimlessly unless I am pulled aside. For a while I stay with a small group and entertain them before excusing myself. And when they're not anymore watching me, I end up watching them. When they don't listen, I do. A local banker is having trouble with his daughter. He wishes to marry her off, but she wants nothing more but to make music. One of our hotel managers worry about the stolen belongings of one of his patrons, a failing in security which should be brought up to higher authority soon. Our mayor... well, his cat died. Then there is that rose-haired woman once again. It is hard not to notice her with her distinctive locks and her non-party outfit. She also lacks the grace that the other ladies have, though that does not make her any less beautiful. Her stance and the air she exudes, instead, are strong, and they make her stand out despite her casual attire. Many men have already given her their attention, though each invitation to dance has been turned down. I approach, intrigued, although it is no great mystery what occupies her own attention, with the glances she keeps sending towards the boy with the oriental hair. Ah yes, the anime hair can only belong to a boy from the Orient. She remains unaware, though, even as I stand beside her, pretending that I am there for a drink.
You would catch his eye a lot better if you wore nicer clothes, don't you think?
Ouch.
Didn't realize the housewarming was going to be this fancy. I would have gone with a nice dress if I knew.
Oh, you're fine, dearie. It's only really the parvenus, those who climb, that come to these parties all dolled up. Quite the black-haired beauty, isn't he?
You rang. The boy comes over, but I do nothing to speak any softer. He merely passes by, and it is a wonder he doesn't hear what I say. He must be working.
Who, Ash?
You know, you really shouldn't have turned down those offers. If I wasn't married, I'd happily go dancing with those young men. But you said a name. Ash. That's the exquisite lad you've been looking at all this time. I don't know him, and I'm the one hosting this party. That must mean you know each other. Is he your boyfriend, then? Because that would explain those rejections.
Oh, hello. In all my life, I have never seen a face grow red so fast. The shade of her hair did not help as well. This is the most pink I've seen on a person, really.
What? No, that's ridiculous. He isn't my boyfriend.
Such a violent reaction. A simple no would have sufficed.
Oof.
Many here would be happy to hear it.
And I haven't been looking at him.
That's right. You've been staring. Quite heatedly, in fact.
Uh-huh.
Although I'm not sure if you look like you want to kiss him or kill him.
It's more the latter, currently.
Just don't go murdering him on my property.
Murdering?
I don't want to walk into a room and suddenly find a body there.
Why would you say that? I waver as I feel the burning of someone's stares. It is chilling, and though I am used to enduring the gaze of others, this one makes the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. Oh, that would be why. That's a stare. It is chilling, and though I am used to enduring the gaze of others, this one makes the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. Becca, don't turn around. My attention is pulled from the girl, and I see a woman staring. Dark-haired and dirty, she looks more like a beggar than a guest, and I have half the mind to call the security at her when her mouth breaks out into a grin. All I hear is her laughing. Taunting. Her stare makes my blood run cold. She looks at me like I am nothing but a pig to slaughter for her amusement. It makes my hand shake and I nearly drop my drink. An understandable reaction. But then in a blink, she's gone and the buzz of the party returns.
I'll keep that in mind, but... Are you all right?
Yes, sorry. I just thought I saw something strange. It must be the trick of the light.
Uh-huh. Couldn't be the ghost lady.
Anyway, on a right, as you must already know.
Rebecca Gales.
Gales.
Reunion. The name is familiar, like a fond memory. I recall a kind lady, a private tutor who treated me like her own daughter when I was young. She'd even bring me food when there was no need to do so. Usually stovies, which I honestly hadn't been too keen about, though I ate them nonetheless because she brought them for me.
Oh, the professor! And your little Becky!
Little Becky!
My parents couldn't make it since they're in Scotland right now. And Mom says hi, by the way.
Are you well-to-do, Becky?
But yeah, that's me. Little Becky. We met once before.
Yes, oh, I remember you. You were the cutest little thing with glasses.
Oh my god.
And when we met, you were having boy troubles with this lad called something with an A.
How long has this been going on for?
What was it again? Aaron, Alan, Adele, Albert, Alexander, Andrew?
Ash. It was Ash. The more I list off names, the more red and the more quiet Becky gets. She starts to look a bit miserable as her body language shows discomfort and stiffness. Perhaps I've triggered a horrid childhood memory. How long ago was this? Surely I hadn't been mean when she visited with her mother. I don't quite remember all of it.
Ashton! Ash! That man is that boy! The same one.
Becca just looks like, kill me now.
Oh, goodness me, after all these years! I can see why, though. He's quite dashing.
Was he that dashing as a kid?
You don't really need to announce it to everyone with an earshot, you know? Keep it down.
I'm so sorry, but it really is cute.
And a tad bit sad. A tad.
This is a nice party, Miss Wright.
Good, Becca. Change the subject.
Please, Hannah is fine. We're friends of a sort, aren't we? We must be friends, seeing as I know about your little infatuation, Becky. Don't you worry, dearie. You'll have your happy ending yet.
I'm not too concerned about that, am I? That's not what I'm looking for.
Oh? And what makes you think that? Doesn't everybody want their happy ending?
The idea of happy endings sounds like they're just for fairy tales. And they are, sorta. I don't think you can just sit around, trapped in some tower and hope for the best. If you love them, you have to fight for it, right?
Interesting. I got like two different pieces of advice. Marianne's like, maybe you need to stand on your own 2 feet. And if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. And Becca's like, if you love someone, you gotta fight for them. I'm like, alright.
You're not just going to sit there and hope that everything will just fix itself on its own. Like everything, you have to work at it.
Good on you, girl.
But what do I know?
There is a grimace, although she starts to relax around my presence. How long has it been since we met as children? Certainly a long time. She was tiny back then, if I recall correctly.
I'm sure the daughter of the 2 greatest professors I've ever known is smart enough to know what she's talking about. But have you told him how you feel? And it's been what? 20 years?
20 years? 20 years? Becca! Becca, no! Oh, God. I feel terrible about doing Ash and Isabella now, but oh no. One day, girl, it'll be your turn. I promise.
17, actually.
Oh, you're keeping count.
But no, not yet. He can be a bit dense.
Then say it straightforwardly.
I was hoping that maybe he'd notice on his own and...
Well, that won't do. What if you 2 become husband and wife? He's not to be dense when he's sworn himself to another person.
Damn.
Why, you might just as well consider leaving before the day's even begun.
If that happens, I'll have to give him a good ear bashing, won't I? Whoever anyone ends up with, it's not going to be a perfect relationship anyway. There's going to be things you'll love and things you'll hate about the other person. We're just humans. It's funny. Here I am, trying to give you advice when you did the very same thing back then.
Oh?
I remember you giving me a makeover when we were still kids. And you were the first I told anyone about my... crush.
I do remember now that she mentions it. Did I give her that yellow summer dress, or the pink blouse and petticoat? She must have kept some of what I said in mind. It feels ridiculous remembering all of that years later. Talking about boys and how they go crazy for pretty girls as if it's some gospel every woman should adhere to. It was so easy to say such things then, with me not knowing any better. Though looking at her now, she must have kept some of what I said in mind. Perhaps I did say something good at that time? Enough for her to take it to heart? But all that didn't matter in the moment as I mull over what she's just said in my head. What Becky told me is very different from what Marianne told me. There is no time to ponder over that, however, as a hush descends upon the once lively crowd. The music of strings and the chatter slows to a grinding halt as the doors from the foyer opens. The last of the latecomers should have arrived moments ago. It must be Cinderella Luke. And anyone else this late would simply be too embarrassed to show their face. So, this can only be one person, or rather, one man. There is only one man who is audacious enough to arrive at his own party so late.
Good evening, ladies and gents. Enjoying the party?
At least he's only having a glass of wine right now.
I hope I'm not too late in welcoming you all to the right mansion.
Unlike I, who was raised in the spotlight and simply grew used to its presence, he sought it out every chance he could, even when there was no spotlight that shone. And I'll never put it against him when he smiles like that. He did so quite brilliantly under the scrutiny when he channels his showmanship. You can tell by the way people's eyes light up as he speaks, how they listen enraptured even if all he's doing is a simple greeting. A little wave of his hands there, a little smile there, and a bit of swagger. I always tell him that if he is not to be a businessman, he'll do well as an entertainer. I love this side of him, especially when he looks at me and he beckons me over to humbly share his place. Not a single second is wasted as I excuse myself from Becky's side and I make my way to Luke's.
Welcome, one and all, to our humble abode. Tonight, if you have yet to find yourself in your roles, you are all ladies and lords of the court of your king and queen. If you would excuse my presumptuousness.
Oh, the laugh.
So, enjoy the feast that has been laid out for your senses as we only allowed the best to be served. Enjoy the rest of your night, everyone!
There is a round of applause, cheers, and even some hoots. Guests approach us left and right to shake Luke's hand and greet him personally, praises on their lips. It is because of this that I do not see her. The ghost lady again? I do not see her until she is dangerously close, with fury in her eyes, and she is already spitting venom. What is happening here? Johannes restrains her, taking care not to unnecessarily harm the pregnant woman. Rochelle? She made it? Wait. Okay, let's just go. But that does little to deter her rage, and the man has no choice but to let her go lest an unborn child is hurt. Although it might be too late for that, as I see an emptied glass of wine in her hand. How much has she imbibed in?
Are you feeling ill, Rochelle? Perhaps you need to sit down and...
No! Shut it, you munter! I ain't talking to you! I'm talking to this scumbag over here!
What is... The Wright Mansion officially opened its doors with a grand housewarming feast. Zachary Steele, Ashton Frey, and Rebecca Gales were seen attending. However, what was supposed to be a day of merriment turned sour when Rochelle Lee, the chief inspector's wife, accused Luke Wright of fathering her unborn baby. Spoilers. Oh, I called it, though. I called it. I freaking... Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no.
You bloody bastard, standing there with your smarmy smile.
I can't believe I was right. She interrupts me, jabbing her finger in my direction before she rounds on Luke. Even as whispers and murmurs break out among the guests, all I can focus on is the heat of the moment. Obviously intoxicated, judging by the smell of alcohol on her breath. I'm not ticked off about this little display of hers, at least not yet. But I am absolutely pissed by the fact that she'd endanger her own baby by drinking. There is a considerable amount of restraint and grace that I must exercise while I wait for her tantrum to subside. I keep a patient, if tight, smile on my face. Luke's expression, on the other hand, is indecipherable.
Watch your tongue! You're on thin ice, Rochelle. Where's your husband? Who even invited you?
Oh, God.
I did.
And I told you with great emphasis not to. Now we have a drunk, hormonal, pregnant woman causing a stir.
And why would you tell me not to?
What is even going on?
I am just about to ask that exact same thing.
I don't know. But Rochelle, do calm down before you hurt yourself. I can't understand a word you're saying.
For real.
Where is that husband of yours? Lee! Collect your wife right now!
Right now.
Don't you fucking talk like I'm not here and you're not responsible, you ass! You told me that I should wait for you in the gardens.
Excuse me. What is this nonsense you're going on about?
Crazy talk. That's all it is. Just completely and utterly mad. Has anyone seen the chief inspector?
I am pregnant with your little bastard. You promised me you'll take responsibility. God damn it, Luke. I finally got you to talk to me after months of silence, and you do this to me.
What? What?
What do you mean you're pregnant with? Luke, is this true?
Lies and slander, woman! Security! Johans, take her out of here before she makes an even bigger fool of herself!
I don't know who to believe.
No, you do not do this to me. I was so ready to leave my stupid oaf of a husband. I told you to leave that damn wife of yours.
Oh boy.
Look at her. Does she look like she wants a baby?
Oh, that's low.
Does she look like she could take care of a baby?
It is now that Johans returns with security, along with a concerned-looking Officer Lee. They surround her and move to escort the hysterical woman. Judging by his pale face, he has heard the whole thing, and I feel nothing but pity for the man. For once in my life.
I'm so sorry for her behavior. She's been under a lot of stress. And the alcohol. Talking nonsense, that's all it is.
Is it? How much is nonsense? I mean, it definitely sounds like they had an affair. Is it Luke's baby, though?
You're not allowed to drink because of the baby, Shelley. What are you thinking?
Nothing to see here, people. Move along.
Is there really nothing here but the ramblings of a drunk? Yes, that's right. There's no way that what Rochelle says is the truth. What she says doesn't match up. I know Luke. If such a scandalous meeting are to be arranged, he won't do it in such an exposed place. Especially not near his precious flowers. I like that's how we know. And he definitely won't promise responsibility over a child unless it can be helped. Besides, Luke will never... He will never go so far as to sleep with another woman, right? Well, that part I can believe. Okay, fine. Who am I kidding? If I am to be completely honest with myself, he might cheat. With a bit of temptation and a bit of alcohol, he just might. And doesn't that just make my blood boil? To even think of the slightest possibility of infidelity. Lee isn't too far off when he told me how Luke still acted like some young hotshot bachelor. It starts to make me think, perhaps a break is needed. I need to work for my happy ending. I mean, if I was just doing a normal run, I think this is where I would do a break is needed. Because, I'm sorry, cheating is like a no negotiator for me in any relationship. You wanna be with somebody else, you break up or divorce your current partner. You don't cheat on them in secret. That is no bueno in my book. So I would like totally break up with him if he actually cheated on her. And it definitely sounds for sure that they had an affair. If anything can be taken from that as truth. But I've already committed to a Luke and Hannah romance for this first run, so we are going to work at this, even though I wouldn't personally. It takes two to tango. Well, of course he would like that, wouldn't he? Becky's words are still fresh in my mind. And I can't help but think that the girl, plucky woman that she is, has a point. If I love Luke, I'll have to fight for him, don't I? So far, I've been doing nothing and sitting on my behind, hoping it'll fix itself. This whole mess definitely isn't going to fix itself. How dare that woman try to drag our name and our relationship through the mud with her lies? I mean, I think you need to talk about the fact that he cheated on you. But, you go, girl. And at my own party! Determination fires me up as I take a step forward into the middle of the fray. All the while, she has been screaming. I signal for security to stop, and I can already feel the glower on my face as I stare into hers. She wilts as soon as she sees me. She starts to grow anxious, and her protests die down. I can see as her haughty, angry expression turns into a horrified realization. Rightfully so. She should be scared. What is that thing they say again? Never wake a sleeping dragon? Oh, damn. They often think that Luke is the one in charge, that he is the one to be feared and appeased. They think me as only the pretty wife. They forget that I am just as capable, just as worthy of respect.
I invite you, my friend, into my house on a day of merriment, and you insult my name and accuse my husband of infidelity. What have I ever done to make you treat us with such disrespect? You are no longer welcome in any of our estates, our properties, and our businesses. And we will no longer patronize yours.
Ooh.
Now, escort the girl and make sure she isn't standing even an inch within our grounds.
Oof. That's gonna hurt. She looks devastated. Reasonable. This does make her into a pariah, doesn't it? Kind of. I should feel concerned, but I can't find even an inkling of mercy within me. Damn. I don't know what her plan was. I don't know what she wanted to make out of this. The money? Luke? It doesn't matter what she wanted.
You won't show your face to me ever again if you know what is good for you, Rochelle. Take her away.
Man, the voice acting, how, like, just barely restrained tears and anger is really good. The tension is thick in the air, and the silence that embraces the room is so set that one can practically hear a pin drop. There are worried and almost fearful glances from some of the guests, but they all know that this is well within my right. She is the one who started this whole dilemma. It just so happens that I'm the one ending it. As long as everyone holds their tongue and don't interfere, none of the consequences matter to me. Especially when my darling looks at me with a different shine in his eyes. Oh boy. It almost seems as if he's proud of what I have done, and that spurs me on more than anything. Nonetheless, I still act upset because this has not changed what just happened. He still has a lot to answer to. Okay, good. Because even if the woman is lying, there is always an inkling of truth in every lie. So when I turn on him, to say that the shock he displays brings me gratification is an understatement. Of course, there is no reason to make a husband and wife spat into a public spectacle. Some privacy will generate the least number of headaches and complications. Everyone is still far too busy in the ballroom, and most of the staff are still in the kitchen. A sharp glance at anyone who'll go through the doors is all it takes to make them retreat.